You dudes, Oren here. This is the 2024-2025 prediction for the Detroit Lions season and how I think it's going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly go through the schedule and say if I think their Lions are going to win or lose that game. I'm not going to do a score prediction, but I'll do a random prediction of a particular event that I think might happen with the Detroit Lions game. And this will be for regular season and for the postseason. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Week one, I have the Lions playing it's the Rams, and I have them winning this game. My random prediction is that Aiden Hutchinson gets 3 sacks in that game. Week two against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I also have them winning this game. And my random prediction for that game is that Kirby Joseph gets a pick six. And week three in Arizona playing the Cardinals, I have them winning that game. And my random prediction for that game is that the Lions score 50. That's right, 50 points. 50 points. Led by Mr. Buckle Up. It's going to be fun. Gannon. And then this is the week four Monday Night Football game versus the Seattle Seahawks, the Pacific the Wicked Witch of the Pacific Northwest. I can't even get my nickname right for them, but that's just how much I hate the Seahawks, I guess. And the Seahawks have played Dan Campbell's Lions each and every year, and they've always beaten the Dan Campbell Lions. And I think that they are finally due for a win, finally this time, especially on the night when Calvin Johnson gets inducted into the Lions Pride thing, and you don't want to taint that special night for Calvin Johnson with a loss, would you? Just like you wouldn't want to taint the Dallas Cowboys Jimmy Johnson inner circle thing with a loss. Wouldn't you agree, NFL refs? And then we have a bye week on week five, and I'm predicting this will not be the only bye the week the Lions will experience this season. And then there's week six against the Dallas Cowboys. I was just talking about them, and this, unfortunately, I have a loss. The Lions will lose to the Cowboys, and it will sting, but it will motivate the Lions to be more successful going down the line. So this is one of those losses where a good team just loses to another good team, and it happens. Week seven in Minnesota to play the Vikings. I have them winning that game. Oh, let me back up for a second. Back to the Cowboys. My random prediction for that game, Montgomery scores 3 touchdowns in that game. But anyways, back to the Vikings win game. My random prediction for that one is Jameson Williams, JMO, gets 200 receiving yards in that game, or 200 or more. And then week eight versus the Tennessee Titans. I actually have them losing to this in this game to the Titans, and this is my trap game loss of the season for Detroit. And the reason I think that is I think Will Levis right now is completely underrated, and he's gonna have such a great year that he's gonna be a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year, and that'll be why the Lions lose mainly. And then my random prediction for that game is that Aleem McNeil gets a fumble recovery. Week nine in Green Bay against the Packers. I have them winning this game. And my random prediction for that game is that Terrion Arnold and Kirby Joseph each get an interception in that game. And I think this will be the type of season where the Lions defense really turns into a top 5 in the league. And like they're really good at interceptions and stuff like that. And the turnover ratio, like they're really good at, just like they were 2 seasons ago. Who was that? The Packers? Oh, yep. And then coming up, we have the Houston Texans. This is a Sunday night football game. and I have them winning this game. It'll be a battle, but they will win against a Texans team that's really good now. And my random prediction for that game is that Jalen Reeves-Maybin, our special teams guru and the NFL Players Association president now, he gets a key first down in that play on a trick play on special teams somehow. So that will be one of the game. That will be the game where something like that happens, and it will be amazing. So good for Germ. And then the next game, Week 11 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, I have them winning this game. And my random prediction for that game is that Sam Laporta gets over 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. So we got to remember Sam Laporta is still really good for us. He's one of our weapons on offense for sure. And then next up in Indianapolis playing the Colts, I have them winning this game. I almost made this the trap game instead of the other one against Tennessee because of Anthony Richardson and his dual threat ability, but I didn't. And my random prediction for this game is that Jack Campbell, he'll get a key interception to help the Lions secure the win, similar to what Derek Barnes did against the Bucks in the divisional playoff game last season. And then we have the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving. And the Lions finally break their bad luck on Thanksgiving and they finally win this game. They win against the Bears, even though DeAndre Swift who's playing for the Bears now, he'll have his revenge game against the Lions and do really well against us, but the Lions will still find a way to pull out a win, just like they did when the Bears were in town last season. And my random prediction for that game is Brian Branch actually causes a fumble from DeAndre Swift. So we think of Brian Branch as like a really good slot receiver, but like we forget in college, like he was drafted, he was a safety. He's a really good like tracking the ball type of guy, going to get a good tackle. And that's I think the kind of role he's gonna have because playing slot corner was his warm up to the NFL, and now he's playing his natural position and he'll be really good at like chasing down ball carriers. And like in this case, he'll chase down DeAndre Swift on a play and cause a fumble and a turnover. And then we got week 14. This is versus the Green Bay Packers, and this is an Amazon Prime game, a Thursday night football game against the Green Bay Packers. And I unfortunately have them losing this game as well. The Packers, they made it all the way to the division round last year, so they're the biggest competition the Lions have. Jordan Love's proven to be a good quarterback so far. I don't think he should have gotten that contract, but that's just the way the economy works in this sport. And my random prediction for this game, where the Lions lose, we can't win every single division game, so this will be the one that we lose in the season. My random prediction for this game is that Taylor Decker catches a touchdown pass, and it makes up for the Decker reported incident in Dallas last year. And Decker finally gets to catch a touchdown pass on a trick play. So, and then who is next? The Buffalo Bills. The Bills come into town to play the Lions, and I actually think the Bills are going to be a worse team now. I think their window is closed, and they're not going to be as good as the team as they were in previous years because they were mid throughout most of last season, and then they got hot at the right time and wound up getting the number 2 seed, and then they botched a lot of things against Kansas City in the divisional round, and that's going to live rent-free in their heads, and they're just going to accept that the Chiefs are their daddy. And the Lions will win against the Buffalo Bills in that game. And my random prediction for that game is that Derek Barnes, he'll get a scoop and score. He'll recover a fumble and then return it for a touchdown. Derek Barnes gets a touchdown and a scoop and score, a fumble recovery in that game. And then we play the Chicago Bears again in Chicago. This is the third to last game of the season. and it's in Chicago in an outdoor stadium, and that kind of makes me happy because playing on the road in Chicago outdoor stadium. Same with San Francisco, where they have an outdoor stadium. Those are two of the last three games of the regular season where the Lions have to play outdoors, and that'll be good for them to prepare in the playoffs should they have to play an away game outdoors. Because last season, like toward the end of the season, like they had so many consecutive games that were seemed like they were inside. That the Lions, I feel like their pass catchers and their DBs or whatever got so used to like looking at dome ceilings that when they played in San Francisco, it probably affected how they were able to see the ball and like drop passes and footballs bouncing off their uh, helmets for catches for the other team and stuff like that. But this is good. This will help the Lions, I really think. And this is in Chicago. And this is another dogfight, and extra points are missed in this game because it's the Windy City. So, but I do have the Lions coming out to win this game as well. And my random prediction for this game is that Aeneas Rakestraw Jr., he gets an interception in this game at some point. And then week 17 against the San Francisco 49ers and the NFC Championship game rematch. The Lions exercise their demons from this game. This is Monday Night Football, and I have them winning this game. And my random prediction for this game is that Jared Goff, he throws four touchdown passes. I almost put him like having 400 receptions in this game, but it is the 49ers defense, so I figured probably a mix of like a lot of rushing and stuff like that, dogfight, but somehow Goff managed to scrape out four touchdown passes in that game. So, and yeah. And then the final game of the regular season, week 18, at home versus the Minnesota Vikings for the second consecutive year. I have them winning this game. And my random prediction for this game is that Hendon Hooker, the Detroit Lions backup quarterback, he'll be able to get some playing time in the second half, and he will throw his first touchdown pass of his career. And then the Lions will finish the regular season with a 14-3 record and have the number one seed, because even though they play a lot of tough opponents, the Lions have improved that much from where they are, especially in the secondary and with players like Reader and all that. And they are establishing themselves as the head honcho, the dominant team of the NFC for now. And then they also clinch a first round bye in the wild card round. So no Lions get the breather in that game. I always kind of wondered if they prefer just the 2 seed instead of the 1 seed. That way they don't have to take a week off and risk losing their mojo. Similar to how like the Tigers, when they went to the World Series in 06 and 12, that they swept their ALCS opponent out of the postseason and had to wait a while for the World Series to start in both instances. And, the 06, they were flat-footed, and that seemed like it affected things for their performance in that World Series. And then in 12, they sent their minor leagues up to play simulated games against the Tigers during that rest period time until the World Series, and that seemed to have gassed them out, allegedly. So, yeah, and then everyone just realizes the solution is just don't have the rest time, and then but the Lions do in this case, and I don't think it really affects things for them that much. But in the division round, it will be home against the Green Bay Packers, is what I'm predicting. So we'll get an epic NFC North showdown in the playoffs with the Lions and the Packers, and I will have the Lions winning this game. And my random prediction for this game is that Amon-Ra St. Brown, he scores a clutch touchdown in a close game that puts the Lions on top, and he solidifies himself as the Derek Jeter of the Lions in that sense. And then the Lions return to the NFC Championship game, where they will take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, everybody likes to forget Eagles were the most dominant team for like the first half of last season, and then for whatever reason they decided to hire Matt Patricia to do their defensive coordinator stuff, and then everything just fell apart. I mean, as a Lions fan, I could have told you that, Eagles, come on. But they have Vic Fangio running things for defense there. Like the Eagles just have too much all around talent to not do good again. You know, they emerge past the Cowboys and all that, and they get they're as good as like they were 2 years ago, but like not as good as the Lions are this year. So they're like the number two seed, like second best team and everything. And it this game takes place in Ford Field, and I have the Lions beating the Eagles and emerging to their Super Bowl. That's right, the Lions. Emerge past the hump from where they were last year, and the Lions are the NFC champions of the season, and they are going to be going to the Super Bowl, where they the Super Bowl opponent that they will be playing, in my hot take, completely no one will predict this type of thing. I think they are going to play the New York Jets. And I think they're going to win. That's right. I think, call me a homer, but I do think the Lions are going to be Super Bowl champions this year. Oh, before I get any further, I forgot to say the random prediction from the Eagles NFC Championship game. In that one, Jake Bates, our new kicker, he'll kick two key and clutch field goals in that game. And that'll be a factor in it, which is, everybody says, oh, Dan Campbell should have kicked a field goal or whatever. Well, we have a kicker now, then we can do that then. So that's what happens. But anyways, back to the Super Bowl stuff against the Jets. Yes, Detroit Lions are the Super Bowl champions of this season. And then my random prediction in that game is that Ife Melifonwu strip sacks Aaron Rodgers and then gets a touchdown from it. And, it turns out to be a big play of that game. He gets like Super Bowl MVP because of it and all that stuff. So Ife there. And then, yeah, why do I think the Jets are going to win the AFC? Well, they don't have Zach Wilson anymore, which was the biggest crutch for that team, the biggest distraction. And, the Jets have consistently had one of the top defenses in the league for the last couple of years, and I think they still will. And then on offense, they have, a lot of weapons still, like, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, still doing a lot of good stuff. And then Aaron Rodgers will, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, but like he'll finally be healthy. He'll be comeback player of the year and all that. And Robert Saleh will be head coach of the year. And then Aaron Rodgers will do what he needs to do to, because I really think this is kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs last year, where actually their defense and their rushing game got them as far as they did. And then Mahomes just kind of finished things off like when necessary. I think it's going to be similar to that, where like the Jets defense just, gets them through all the higher scoring opponents, and then Aaron Rodgers does just enough in clutch situations to complement their team, and they get hot at the right time at the last part of the season, and then like they're able to get to the Super Bowl for that. And the hype that the Jets had from a couple of years ago turns out to be true, and we all remember it because Aaron Rodgers isn't injured, and then there's no Zach Wilson drama anymore. So. I also really wanted to talk about the NFL Top 100 and just kind of why is Aaron Rodgers in it? I know he's like higher up there, but like even though he played 4 snaps, and don't you think there's like other really good players who didn't make the top 100 that deserve to be in there over Aaron Rodgers, who just played 4 snaps? I mean, what's up with that? And I looked it up, and I know the players are the ones that voted for this list. So I thought that was interesting there too. But, I just really had to get that information out there. It was something I first talked about weeks ago, but then I kept postponing doing that. And I kept relying on other people to do all the work for me to get that out. But I just had to do it here now, even though the news on the top 100 is just completely dead at this point. But yeah, this is what I get for relying too much on other people to do that for me. So I just wanted to go and do that now. But anyways, that's my prediction for this season for the Lions. Some other like random stuff. I think Ben Johnson does win Assistant Coach of the Year for the NFL honors things. I think Hutch is a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. Same with Gibbs as a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year. I think that this is the year where Gibbs really emerges as like not just a running back for rushing yards, but like a lot of good receiving yards. And he really turns into like Alvin Kamara 2.0. And he's 1A in terms of best running back in the league with Christian McCaffrey. So I think Gibbs will have a big year. I think JMO will also have a really big year. I think he'll get 1,000+ receiving yards of this season. So he'll be a factor in these games as well. He'll be much improved. So I don't know if he'll be like a superstar, but I think he'll have a much bigger role now that he's filling in the shoes for Josh Reynolds, who has gone to Denver. And then, oh, one other prediction I have. Well, I forgot to mention that Hutch, I think, will probably get up to 15 sacks this year. Although, like, he'll still be up there in pressures and everything, and like he'll do what he needs to do to like help the overall defense out in clutch situations. But the other prediction I have, I think, is interesting. We all tend to forget Kirby Joseph had a lot of clutch interceptions a couple years ago for us for the Lions, and I think he'll finally. I think he'll find his form once again this season, and he'll actually be the NFL league leader in interceptions this year. So hopefully, because I think that's one of the key skills Kirby Joseph has for the Lions, and that's one of the key parts of their formula for success is winning the turnover battle and getting the interceptions and fumble recoveries and having that high turnover ratio where their offense doesn't turn the ball over that much, but their defense does get turnovers. And they were really good at that 2 years ago. I believe their ratio was +7. And then this past year, it was like right at 0. But I think, that aspect of their game will be much, much better. And that will be the key for why the Lions, call me a homer, I don't care, will be the Super Bowl champions of this year. They will dominate the regular season, and then they will dominate the playoffs. So do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm going to go continue to enjoy my summer and obviously get more sunshine. Probably going to go hiking and all that sort of stuff. I had some pretty cool life goals accomplished with the nearby college. That's going to be taking up a lot of my time. So I'll be focusing on that too. So, but yeah, go out, enjoy what's left of the summer, everybody. Football season is a few weeks away, and then I'll see you guys then. And as always, go Lions, one pride.